On the 28th of August 2025, the Saint Lucia-CUBA Friendship Association, SLCFA, previously referred to as the Humanistic Solidarity Association, HSA, celebrated the 20th anniversary of its establishment in 2005. This event also served to celebrate the 46th anniversary of Saint Lucia-CUBA diplomatic relations. Dr. Virginia Albert Poyot, Saint Lucia's Minister for the Public Service, Labor and Gender Affairs, presented as one of the founding members of the SLCFA on the impact that Cuba's approach to supplying public goods had on Saint Lucia.
The same philosophy of education and health in Cuba, Saint Lucia benefited from that by improving our education system, improving our healthcare system. And the government of Saint Lucia today can speak to introducing some elements of universal health care. So we are still on the path to getting higher levels of health facilities for our children and quality education for all our children.
After announcing the upgrades that will be made to Saint Lucia's cooperation with Cuba, Saint Lucia's ambassador to Mexico and Venezuela, His Excellency Peter Lansico, warned that this relationship with Cuba is to be protected.
I want to say to you also that we must be careful to continue to be vigilant about our friendship with Cuba, Venezuela, Mexico, and other countries. I say vigilant because there are forces who would downgrade the program if they could. There are forces in our country that would downgrade our friendship and our cooperation with Cuba if we could.
The Cuban ambassador to Saint Lucia expressed her gratitude to Saint Lucia's Prime Minister for upholding pride in Saint Lucia's relationship with Cuba.
And referring to Caribbean leaders, I already remarked the presence and the value of Dr. Kenny Anthony, but I will ask a round of applause for the PM, Philip Jean-Pierre. For his continuing effort in building up relationships with Cuba, and for the dignity that the Saint Lucia government has kept, mainly this year, in which they have been extremely pressed against the Cuban medical collaboration. However, the neck hasn't gone like this, but like this.
The head of the Cuban Medical Brigade in Saint Lucia stressed the importance of truth-telling when it comes to Cuba's sovereignty.
And our all have disseminated throughout the world and so different channels the truth of the revolutionary Cuba of Fidel, of Raúl, and of so many Cubans who resist and defend the imperialist aggression every day. Today, I want to thank you on behalf of more than 90 Cubans who currently work in the health system in Saint Lucia.
The Saint Lucia-CUBA Friendship Association, SLCFA, is affiliated with the Cuban Institute of Friendship with the Peoples, ICAP, which preserves the solidarity that ignited the Cuban Revolution. Some of the SLCFA's functions include the provision of Cuban scholarships and financial support to, and securing medical appointments in Cuba for Saint Lucians in need. For Choice News Now, I am Cianna Dalsan.